What are we doing this week? We're on the friggin' Google thing.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 161 of the Toonami Escape Podcast. I'm Greg Zeno. Tonight we have B-Dubs,
Hello.
C. Kohler,
Hey guys.
and Seda.
Me.
Huzzah.
There's only a bit of news this week. We got another question about I have a question. When did it become? What are the top? This question was actually just top requested shows, but it always seemed like what are the top three?
Oh yeah, and then
It's just something he answers periodically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have them?
We got another. What are the top ones requested again? And it's like, honestly, at this point, we are showing just about everything people are asking for. Believe it or not, we've had a decent amount of requests for Dr. Stone, as well as Mob Psycho Season 2, One Punch Season 2, JoJo Season 5. In terms of new titles, though, not that many requests beyond what we already have. But we are always open to suggestions, so please keep them coming.
That is a little weird. Usually he'll put out a list of things.
Well, I mean, he did.
He did.
Well, I mean more than that, you know.
Season 2s.
No, it's usually 3.
Well, I mean, I'm not talking about the number of shows, like the top ranked shows. He just said here are some shows that people want, and a lot of them are continuing seasons that we've seen one of. At least.
Yeah, I mean, I think my take on this is that I'm just happy to see like Dr. Stone is like the first one he mentions, and that it's like the one he's specifically talking about a lot of requests from. So
well, at the very least, he didn't say, "Oh yeah, people are really wanting Shield Hero and Goblin Slayer," and
right.
So
yeah, I am happy those did not come up.
Yeah,
because Fairy Tail often did.
Yeah, that one as well.
But yeah, that's state of what people are asking for is, hey, remember that show? Show that again. And
or they're just not asking. I mean, it's because it's strange how he ends the tweet. Like, keep sending them.
I mean,
well, C. Kohler, you know what to do. DM him Land of the Lustrous every single day.
I've never actually done that. I should probably just do it.
You should probably do that.
They used to take requests on their Tumblr page, but then they literally just. I think the Tumblr page is still up, but they don't update it anymore.
Right.
Tumblr sucks.
Yeah, he basically was like when Tumblr did their content rule change, he was just like, let's just stop using.
I wonder what their preferred method is for fans to contact them.
Facebook.
Yeah, I imagine it was Facebook. Because now they put everything on. Yeah, nobody likes using Facebook.
Or at him on Twitter very politely and not.
Yeah, I guess I could do that. Yeah.
You can. I think you can use Ask FM anonymously to ask him whatever you want, except you have to have an account. I mean, it's a free account, but you can create. I've actually done it. I've created an account, and sometimes I'll just ask him specific things. But you can ask anonymously.
Is it bad form to not ask a question?
I mean, I think one person recently.
Please ask this in the form of a question.
Well, I think one person recently just stated to him, this isn't a question, but thank you for airing that Attack on Titan. As credit scene you missed, and he was just like, "You're welcome."
No, if you don't end, if it doesn't end in a question mark, you are banned from Ask FM. It says ask. It says ask.
Yeah. Okay. So you can do the request, and then also you can phrase the request as an ask. So when are we getting Land of the Lustrous?
Or you could just be like, if you don't mind, or can I ask if it's possible that we would get that show?
Ushio and Tora.
Something.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff seems like it would be okay.
In terms of shows, we know we're still getting Demon Slayer at some point.
Demon Slayer in the fall, which means probably late September onward.
I wonder if they might rerun Genlock once just because it's short.
I don't know about that.
I kind of hope they don't, but
I think if they were looking to rerun a show around now, they would have rerun something else.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't base it off of anything other than it's short. So.
It's 8 episodes,
but it also is some
it's
awkwardly.
longer than a Fully Cooley.
It has some awkward episode lengths, so maybe rerunning it would actually just be a hassle for
Yeah,
some
they
of those.
probably don't want to deal with that for longer than they have to.
So yeah.
It's weird to me that Genlock is going to air earlier in the block than
Yeah,
Fire
it's the
Force.
second show.
We are back to weird Toonami.
Yeah. I mean, we're in a point where all the long running things are ending.
Well, let's get into it, probably.
Yep,
Yeah.
let's talk about them. Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Super episode 121, All Out War, the ultimate 4-way combination versus 7th Universe's All Out Attack. Oh boy. In this episode, they fight Voltron. No, wait, Voltron was last week. This week, it's just a giant, huge dude using a bunch of movie villain attacks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Such as
No, he has
Portal Arm.
he has Leorio's Nen ability.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's like I can punch you through space.
Yay! I have dolphin
Stop.
powers.
Yeah.
Click, 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 click. He's clicking and finding it. And this fight looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to admit that the ending was pretty. It was hype. I mean, it was.
Oh,
I got
yeah.
excited. I was like, "This is really cool."
The last
no,
fight, like the fucking Power Rangers.
Oh, it was so cool.
Also, by 18, you did some good work.
Yeah, that sucks.
Well,
I like that. Like Frieza at the beginning of this episode is just like, "Yeah, I'm still here."
Yeah.
then he gets really into this whole thing. He's just like, I'm going gold.
I liked how they had that little power up scene where like everyone is going to their maximum, and it does that Frieza gold transformation again.
Mhm.
It's a really
Yeah.
cool transformation.
I noticed that reused animation.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of reused animation in this arc, especially from the sort of prior stuff. I'm trying to remember. Someone put together a compilation of it all, but there's a lot of it.
The Frieza gold transformation is almost just kind of so over the top that kind of reusing it almost sort of works that
It
way.
has- Like every time it comes out, it should be like the soundtrack should be "He loves only gold."
Exactly. It's one of the it's sort of what got everybody to notice it. That they were reusing animations. Because every time Frieza transform, I love gold.
Gold.
I guess so. That universe is gone. So now we're finally down to what this hall has been obviously building to.
Yeah.
Yep. Dispo versus Gohan.
Wait.
Well, it's basically three. I forget what number universe Jiren and friends are from.
11.
2?
11.
I
Okay,
thought there were
so
2.
it's the 3 Universe 11 guys versus 5 Universe 7 guys,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Universe 7 wanted to, they could just kind of just play hide and
They
seek.
could, but also Jiren could flex and destroy the entire arena.
Probably.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. He could murder them all if he really wanted to.
Like, he can chase you down.
Yeah.
It's no problem.
Jiren actually said some words in this episode.
Yeah.
Something like, "Now we'll fight,"
Yeah.
and that's it.
Well, he had a full sentence. I forget what it was, but it was basically that. But he said a whole full sentence.
He said something like, "I pick things up and put them down."
Yes. I mean, that does sound like something he would say.
Yeah, it's like that 80s movies No Holds Barred, where the bad guy is this crazy wrestler and all he does is say his name, like Zeus. My name is Zeus. It's like the primary enemy of the entire movie says 2
Zeus.
words in the whole movie.
Matt
Yeah.
Damon.
It would be funny if that's all Jiren said was Matt Damon.
So yeah, but yeah.
I mean, we obviously know that somehow it's going to end up as Goku versus Jiren. So now
Yep.
it's like, okay, I guess we
I
got to.
mean, it's like my only real complaint about all this is like it's just so obvious where everything's going. I'm still interested to see it because hopefully it's cool, but like, how long have we been waiting for this? You know,
Mm-hmm.
About
forever.
70 episodes.
Yeah,
Feels like it.
it's
Yeah.
not terrible. It's not bad. I don't want to be like super negative. I'm just like this last hurrah with these robots just felt like
Yeah.
unnecessary at this point.
Like literally, it felt like, oh shit, we forgot the robots are still here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you could do to make them seem intimidating when Jiren is standing next in line, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I'm
mean-
sorry, but story-wise, this should have been where the Kefla fight ended.
I don't know.
Hit should have still been around, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I think if Hit was still around at this point, it would be pretty damn cool. And it would have been like, oh, they got to beat Hit and Jiren now? Shit.
I think it would have been slightly more interesting if we had at the end here, like 3 universes, like competing against each other rather than just 2. Like 3
Yeah.
universes that we know that are like interesting, not like 7, 11, and the robots. Like that doesn't count.
Yeah.
I would also point out that, can you name a situation where, like, 99% of everyone in this tournament has been knocked out by one of our, like, the 7th? Because they have to show every fight, and it's not, nobody got knocked out off screen like you would think they would. So it's like, okay, you're clearly not really that dedicated to showing that anyone can be eliminated at any time, so why not just go for maximum dramatic effect?
Yeah.
Let's stretch it out. How much do you think of this was planned by Toriyama?
Little.
Barely any.
I assume at this point they basically just Toriyama offers like character designs and a vague like premise. Like, how about Goku becomes a god? Like, okay,
I wrote you an outline.
Yeah. I mean, maybe an outline. Sort of like, oh, this might be a cool idea.
But yeah, the best part of this episode was this dramatic reveal that actually the Destroyer God from Universe 2 is a tiny dude in a robot suit.
Honestly, that was pretty cool.
That was pretty good.
I wonder if they were all little people in robot suits.
No, I think those were actually just robots. But anyway, they're dead now. Good riddance.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan, episode 59, Beyond the Walls. This is the end of season 3. In this episode,
Gasp.
they go beyond the walls, like all the way.
Yep.
They did.
And turns out they also like actually killed all the Titans, basically.
Yeah, there's like a time skip in this episode.
They skipped ahead like a year.
It was like 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a decent time skip.
No, it's only it's been 6 years since the first appearance of the Colossal Titan,
Right.
and then it's only really been 1 year before this episode between like the second appearance of the Colossal Titan.
Right.
But I believe between the last,
I think
the
it's been a
previous
year or
episode and this episode, it was something like several months at least.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was like 6 months or
'Cause
something.
they went
It happened in the middle of the episode.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So you could see some of the characters had slightly different designs, like Armin and Aaron.
They had
slightly
aged
different haircuts.
slightly. Yeah.
You know what you'd expect not seeing someone for 6 months. They look close enough to the same, but not maybe exactly the same haircut or whatever.
Right.
And some of the other characters, like Levi, didn't really look much different because he just sticks to the same look.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this episode is mostly kind of a, it was a half conclusion to things. People that were driven out of Shiganshina at the very beginning of the series were able to come back.
Well, it's like everyone gets to go to all 4 of those like outer wall.
Well, I mean, not talking about like our main characters, but talking about, you know, just the people of the city that were attacked at the very beginning of the series can finally return to their now demolished homes.
Yep. Guess what? Free real estate.
Yeah.
It's free real estate.
And so obviously at this point, because of what they found in the basement, the books, and also because of Aaron's memories kind of putting everything together, they sort of know everything that's going on in terms of the world, and they made the decision in this story to basically release that information to everyone.
Yep.
So it's not a secret like anymore.
All right, everyone. Turns out there are aliens.
Yeah.
They like weed.
I mean, who doesn't?
What was there was a confusing scene in this episode where Historia is bestowing medals on everyone, and everyone has to kiss her hand, and he kisses her hand and then has a flashback, and it freaks him out.
Basically, from what I understand it, he realized that he can use the founding Titan's power to control Titans if he is physically touching a person with royal blood.
Right.
And he didn't want to reveal that. He didn't want to reveal that information because he was worried that they'd start to use Historia as some sort of like tool. Like
the military would be like, "Oh wait, actually, we don't need you anymore. Haha, we're the military."
Well, okay.
I think he was worried that like if the military knew that Historia had to be present for Aaron to use his power, that they'd basically force her to
keep fighting,
basically be in danger all the time.
Well, see, last episode that was revealed.
Well, I think Aaron figured it out to himself, but
I think he figured. I think
he's talking about the scene where he remembers Grisha.
Yeah,
confronting the royal family in the underground crystal cave.
Yeah,
he's basically sharing the same. He realizes he's sharing the same expression there.
Right.
When Frida's just like, actually, no, I don't think so.
But what is that revelation then?
It's not really. It's the past memories are directly affecting him.
Yeah, like it's changing who he is as a person.
Okay, it's just he had another weird flashback, and he's just
almost in the same way that everyone who got the founding Titan power was like all of a sudden like, oh, okay, actually, we should just stay here.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, I mean, you know, to the show's credit, I thought this ending was very poignant, and it also did show a lot of character growth for who used to be the annoying, yelling Aaron, who is now sort of this melancholy, sort of almost kind of broken person.
Yeah.
Who's just like, we made it to this ocean. This is something we wanted our whole lives. And he's kind of like, this is the ocean.
We escaped the walls and made it to the ocean. But what is the ocean but another wall?
Yeah, it's just it's just a span of water where on the other side, the whole world wants to kill us. So
also they find the saddest Titan.
I mean, like, this is maybe like a bad example, but like, imagine something like the Promised Neverland, where they realize once they leave their walled area that it's just 1,000% worse on the other side. It's like,
like they get up to the top wall, and it's not it's not a chasm. It's just it's an ocean.
It's kind of like the ultimate, like the grass is greener on the other side. Like they are hoping that like the sea would be kind of like their final like place to visit or go as sort of like this unreachable goal. And now they kind of realize, well, just on the other side of that, the whole world wants to kill us.
Yeah, I mean, it's like everybody else was kind of like marveling at this, and they were just like, "Oh, this is amazing, the ocean!" And I've never seen anything like it. They even have like they're kind of goofing off and everything. Hanji's there, and
then like
he's just like, "Well, okay, we did it, I guess."
He's the only one who's seen it in a way.
That's true.
Heard of it.
I mean, at the same time, I feel like he's sort of become this weird mix between Aaron and Grisha in terms of person. You know, like he's not himself anymore, but he's experienced Grisha's memories through Grisha's eyes, and it's sort of shaped who he was as a person to become more like Grisha than he was before.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Me of some other show or book or movie. I don't know, like of
I
shared
know
experiences like this.
I know the one you're
Like
talking
he
about.
kind of. I'm sure there's more than one example, but
Yeah.
like he saw
Mhm.
Grisha's, or he. Well, I guess maybe he didn't see it, but he basically experienced Grisha's pain of having his sister killed by Nazis or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, while that wasn't his sister, he felt what Grisha felt at that
Right.
time.
It feels a bit like that episode of Next Generation, the Undying Light or whatever.
Yeah, we talked about that last
Yeah,
week.
no, we did.
Yeah. So what do you think the point of that Saddest Titan was?
I think to sort of show that Aaron's not murder all Titans anymore.
In this case, he probably should have, because oh my god.
Yeah, that
Wait,
fourth
what was
thing.
the point of what?
So
The-
there's
the-
this like Titan at the end of the episode. They find it's like the last one, and it's just been crawling on the ground for like 12 years or something.
Like decades, because they look at the rivet right behind the rut right behind it, and it's like over with grass, and it's like, wow.
Well, I would say it's probably been like 6 or 7 years or something. But yeah, it can't barely move, so it's just been like slowly crawling towards the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's like Aaron is like, he's not going to even bother to kill it.
I think, now he knows that these Titans are Eldians that were transformed against their will.
Like
right.
Patriot.
So,
like, he feels bad for it. I feel like if he didn't have Grisha's memories but knew that, he'd still sort of have more anger toward them, but because he's sort of got Grisha's memories and his, very fanatical, Eldian thing going on in there too, it's it's sort of the example of what's changed about him as a character.
mm-hmm.
Speaking of characters, we also saw Hitch. Remember Hitch?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we totally skipped the scene where.
Right, yeah.
What's his name? Like Fluck?
Pluck.
So he's kind of this character that he's only become a named character because he was like the only other one who survived. And there's basically this dramatic, maybe over dramatic scene during their memorial for everyone who's died, where he's basically saying they should have brought back Erwin, and Armin was sort of a personal bad choice at that moment.
I mean, they're not wrong.
I mean, in a way, he's not like totally nonsensical here, but
also it's like, Levi, you're standing over there. Just say, "Hey, motherfucker, I made the choice."
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, it's kind of like Erwin did basically go, "Nah, save him."
Yeah, you could also say that, but it's just like, no, gotta have.
Yeah.
Armin is like, you shouldn't have picked me, and I still don't really know who would have been the better choice, to be honest.
Honestly, I feel like
kind of the point.
I feel like Erwin would have been the better choice, but
see, I think that that's like saying that Armin can't be Erwin, which I think he could.
Well, I mean, he can't be Erwin. He could potentially be better than him, but I feel like because given time and experience and all that, he could potentially be better. But in the moment, they lost an absolutely huge asset that they could have used right now.
Hold on, though. I wonder if the thing will be that Erwin would be less effective against human enemies.
I don't know. I mean, we honestly have no idea. I feel like, though, they traded the now for what they hope will be the future.
Mm-hmm.
But they have no guarantee on Armin being the future. Like, they're sort of placing that bet and saying, "Hey man, we saved you. We know you can be something good, so you got to go do that now, man. Like, if you fail, then, man, we all fucked up."
He agrees.
But I see Kohler's original point about Hitch. It's kind of a side character, but just kind of, just the person she cared about most in the world is dead now. Like, that's
bowl cut boy.
We haven't really, like, in terms of character, none of our main cast has really.
No, I mean, they're all basically
Erwin,
yeah.
The character who's probably our most main character who has died. Everyone else is still alive, but still with deaths like his and with this other character like Marlowe, not really a main character, just sort of, helps to push the fact that, these are people with characters and relationships and lives that have died.
Right.
All this, so that's what the memorial is for.
Yeah. At the same time, it's kind of like it's trying to say that, oh, look at all these people who died, when really it's for all of them, it's all of these people died. For us, it's basically Irwin's gone, and that's really about it.
That's sort of what I'm getting at, though. Is like if a bunch of people died and it was no one we knew at all, then it's just kind of like, who cares as much? I mean,
right.
we didn't know any of them, and even though Marlowe was not a main character, we saw enough that there's that personal relationship between him and Hitch that we saw before. There's like that kind of hammers home that like these people are dead and will no longer be, they're gone. Not just a bunch of nameless, faceless mooks. So it's just a small thing that makes the death feel more real.
Before we get to the ranking, I'm just gonna say that like I've been super impressed with these last two seasons. And after I saw the first season of Attack on Titan, I remember telling my friend who doesn't like anime or doesn't really watch anime. I wouldn't say he doesn't like it. I guess he just doesn't watch it. But he like his brother had mentioned watching Attack on Titan to him, and he said, "What do you think of that?" And I remember thinking, I thought, it's okay. It's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I thought it was a little.
It was like a zombie movie, but the zombies
I
were
gave him a description, but I was talking more about the tone. I was just kind of like, it's like, I don't know. It's like I didn't think it was all that good at the beginning. I got a little better in the second half of the season. Now I'm like, this is one of the better animes I've seen. Like overall, it just kept getting better.
Attack on Titan is incredible now. That I think.
Yeah,
it's one of these rare shows where it just gets better the longer it goes. It's really unusual.
Yeah,
most shows like start out great and then get worse. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised.
I mean, it has definitely gotten better, I think.
I think one thing that helps it in a way is that it doesn't have like the same sort of structure that you see in a lot of shonen.
No, I think it does actually.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there's a larger focus on the side characters, but outside of that, it's sort of very basic.
I would say
almost.
I don't really disagree. I kind of disagree because I think I kind of see what Seda is saying. It's like to me, this show seems more like an American show than an anime, like in the storytelling sense. Like almost as if like the writer really enjoyed Walking Dead and was like, I'm gonna make my version of that.
I can see that.
I guess what I was trying to say is in shonen shows. First of all, is Attack on Titan technically shonen? Like it's in shonen?
I guess it has to be kind
of.
The Shonen Jump turned it down, and they've been literally kicking themselves in the face ever since.
Well, I mean, when they turned it down, the art was like horrific.
I think of shonen shows like Hunter x Hunter. We all liked Hunter x Hunter. Ranked it not too long ago, but it's still basically based in arcs, and it's so subdivided into this arc. And then it kind of flows into this arc, and it flows into this arc. And while Hunter x Hunter may be slightly better than some other shonen type shows like that, I feel like Attack on Titan is just kind of like this evolving storyline where everything is connected and kind of builds into each other. And yeah, I guess if you really wanted to, you could talk about like, this is the female Titan arc, and this is the historical arc. I feel like it's still, in a way, like the way the story is actually being constructed and given to us, and the way that the characters are moving throughout the storyline, it feels like it's more thoughtful to me. And it doesn't feel so overly structured like My Hero Academia even. I feel like it's so...
Oh, no.
I don't think that's so much a shonen thing. It's just like it's just a level. Like this show seems, this is not the right term to use, but it's the only one I can think of. This show seems written a little more adult than Hunter x Hunter or My Hero. Like insofar as like... I mean, and I mean that only because it's like it seems to care more about like introspection of characters and less about like something amazing happening on the screen.
No, I don't know about that.
I mean, Hunter x Hunter has
I-
absolutely
I
no
guess it had that too. Yeah,
zero
that's a bad
interest
example.
in ending an arc in any sort of traditional like satisfying way.
No,
The problem with
I
with
think,
using the word shonen is that there's really no good definition of what that
right.
means. So.
I think sort of what
I
sets
know when
this.
I see it, it's like porn.
Yeah. I think sort of what sets this one apart from something like Hunter x Hunter is that Hunter x Hunter very much jumps around from place to place. So, you can clearly define, or it's sort of like One Piece, where you go from one island to the next, and then you define each arc by the island you're on, because each island essentially has its own little story going on. Whereas they are essentially in the same place the entire time, and they're going from dealing with the Titans to dealing with the, invading Marleyans to dealing with the
Yes.
king to like instead of moving through space, they're moving through organizations.
But I think regardless of I don't really quite agree with this concept of like it doesn't have arcs. I think it totally does, but like
No, it absolutely does.
But I think what I'm trying to say, and I'm kind of doubling down on what I said a moment ago, is that like again, I don't think adult is the right term, but I think this is a darker story, and I think that is kind of what makes it feel different to me because this is like I've never seen Death Note, but I'm assuming this is similar in tone to Death Note.
I think Death Note is probably a little bit more over the top.
Honestly, I would put Death Note probably above this a little bit. Well, like it Death Note kind of goes, it's in that same vein, but it also hinges on this idea that the main character is literally almost insane. Like they are insane, but they're literally just a step below Joker level crazy town.
This is what I think of when I think of like shonen. I mean, I know again we're going to go down a rabbit hole here, so I'm going to make it.
You think of like Dragon Ball.
Well, no, yeah, duh. But let me finish my thought. So like it's like likable characters and fun. That's typically what I think of shonen. I know that doesn't mean it, but that's what I think of. Like when I think of One Piece, when I think of Dragon Ball, when I think of Hunter x Hunter, there's always like lighthearted, great, fun character moments and fun characters that you really are charming and whatever. And this doesn't have that. Like none of the characters, like there are a few characters here are mildly charming, but there's just so much more seriousness going on here. They don't really.
Potato
it's
Girl?
Not playful. It's like but that's like a one-time thing.
Season 1,
she's absolutely just sort of like, or Hanji, like
it is
mad scientist.
There's the very smallest amount of levity in this show. It's there, but it's very small compared to everything else.
I think
that's the difference to me.
I think it's just that the moments of levity are separated by wide gulfs of oh my god, everything's horrible all the time. Oh my god,
that's what I'm saying, and that's why this feels different than a shonen. Because it's so much more serious. And adult was the term I was trying to use to describe this.
I wouldn't necessarily agree that it's more adult or more serious than something like One Piece, which can be very silly.
No, you're wrong. One Piece is a fun fantasy adventure show. This
have you seen what some of the shit
in like
they get
season
into there?
2 where we saw the inside of a guy's freaking head? Like
that's edgy. That's not adult.
That's just gore as adult.
Yeah. That's just. I mean,
what are we?
Yeah, I don't know.
Where did we go? This is you're right. This is a rabbit hole. What?
Okay.
We were talking about how Attack on Titan feels the same or different from other shows that we see a lot of shonen, and now shonen being the problematic word here, basically.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's not really a shonen because it's a mecha show.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of this weird sort of mecha show with zombies.
I don't think
instead of robots, the mechs are weird, giant, naked human flesh eaters, and wow, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like this is like honestly, if you put it like that, it's way closer to a Gundam, some type of Gundam show.
Kind of feels like Evangelion, honestly.
Little bit.
Tone.
Yeah. Little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, it is a bit closer to something like Gundam, I think.
But I
Okay,
guess
well,
maybe stopping comparisons to other shows.
It's time to rank it. Well, let's do the the ultimate comparison to other shows and rank it.
Okay.
All right.
That about sound good? All right.
Yeah, I think we're ready.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Everyone look at this list and think of where you're going to put it.
It's currently at number 23, which is about halfway down the list.
Yeah, it is right below Inuyasha. Above
I feel like
Inuyasha.
you see, it feels like this should have been moved up several times in the.
I don't know.
I don't remember when's the last time we re-ranked.
The last time,
3 part 1.
no, we moved it up at that point. I think season 1 had it below IBO.
It was
And
not
then-
a strong season, no.
No, and then we moved it up already to right below Inuyasha after season 2. Yeah,
We didn't move it up after season 3 part 1.
right, because we said we wanted to wait until season 3 part 2.
Did
No,
we?
I guess-
Yeah, because it was only part 1 of the season. We wanted to see if they could stick the landing.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take your word for it. Either way, it's time. Its placement is not correct.
No, I should reiterate that we are ranking the whole show, not just season 3. So
That's
like
correct.
Right.
season 1
Yes.
is a part of your ranking. It is
Yeah.
part of the show.
There are a few shows on this list for whatever reason get to have their seasons broken out, but this isn't one of them.
Well,
Right.
it's mostly just JoJo
Yeah.
Yeah.
And JoJo is
I mean,
weird like that. But
because
whatever.
it's a completely different cast of characters every time.
I mean, JoJo is basically like several different shows under the exact same umbrella.
It's like trying to. It's like American Horror Story.
I would have said something like what the Marvel Cinematic Universe thing. You know, because you're constantly having people from the other seasons show up in the new seasons
Okay, sure.
for like crossovers and stuff. But whatever.
Yes. Okay. No, it's like True Detective.
That's
There we go. There we go. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Everyone got their ranking put in?
nope,
Oh, hang on.
not yet. I'm still
I'm gonna send it to you on Discord.
Okay. I'm ready when you guys are.
All right.
I'm not ready.
All right. I think I'm good.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm higher.
Wow. Okay, so here's what we've got. I'll read them off.
Okay, well, I didn't actually have Discord open, so I didn't see beat up.
All right. Well, we'll do his
All right.
last.
Okay.
So at the current top, King Seda, he put it at 9. That's pretty high. Grex had it at 12. I have it at 15. And B-Dubs?
13.
I had 13. I settled on 13.
So Seda, you need to make your pitch
I
for why
don't
you
think
think
I
it's
like JoJo as much as you guys do. I think is the main thing.
I'm surprised you like this more than Black Lagoon.
Yeah, I'm
Black
really
Lagoon,
surprised.
Black Lagoon. I like more as a fun show, and I think like the last 6 episodes of it kind of, I don't know, but
You're also putting it over One Piece, right?
no. Oh, I guess I probably did mean 10, not 9.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
So
So I think we all basically have it in that sort of JoJo area.
The thing is I put it above some of the JoJo shows, and you guys put it below.
I
I
started
put
to
it like
rethink
in
it.
I put it kind of in the middle of the JoJos, you know, like above Stardust Crusaders and Samurai Jack, but below Ghost in the Shell, which I feel like is better.
Well, you said 13, which would be above Ghost in the Shell.
Oh no, I want it right below Ghost in the Shell. Sorry. So 14. It just is very weird.
Yeah, it's weird. Okay, whatever.
It's very simple. Find the 2 shows you want to put it between,
Right.
cut it, stick it in there. What is it? What number is it now?
Okay. Okay. So 14 for me.
You want 14, and Seda wants 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I guess I wasn't sure how to feel about the JoJos because they're so different. Like I enjoyed the JoJos because they were like stupid in a
Right.
great way. And this show is clearly way more like deserving of critical claim than JoJo, I think. And so it's tough for me because you know me, I'm all about like I want to watch the shows that are the most fun to watch. Attack on Titan isn't really a fun show, but it is a really compelling show.
Right. I mean, that's kind of how I looked at it. Like right now, I kind of look at it like I sort of do Ghost in the Shell, and I'm kind of like these two are kind of on the same level, but I feel like Ghost in the Shell sort of deals with things that Attack on Titan doesn't. So that's sort of why I have that just above.
Sometimes I'm giving more credit. I'm giving credit to Ghost in the Shell that actually this isn't just boring. They're actually talking about issues. Sometimes
it's a smart show.
Like, I'm technically bored, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
It's one of the better written shows on this list because it is thoughtful and is trying to say things. Yeah.
Right. I think it's one of the more thoughtful shows that it's kind of like Brotherhood and Hunter x Hunter and you know.
To be fair, I think that Attack on Titan falls into that kind of mindset for me because I think this is, like I said, I think this show it's had some good action, but I think it's also been more about the internal monologues and the internal struggles of these characters.
At the same time, I don't think it's sort of reached for the sort of outward critique that these other shows have just yet. Like it's sort of starting to do that now. And like, you know, the flashback and what we are going forward. So I am interested to see how it ends. And, you know, I sort of know how it goes. And I still kind of like it. I'm not as high on it as some of the other people who are reading it. But like, as for where it is now, I don't think it's reaching for that sort of outward critique that something like Ghost in the Shell or Hunter x Hunter or Full Metal Alchemist has done just yet.
So, for me, I guess I put it between Diamond is Unbreakable and Battle Tendency, but I could totally just put it under both of them. I just feel like it's mostly like, well, how do I take into account the fact that the first half of the first season is kind of boring and bad?
Right.
What I was trying to be like, and it's like, well, because of that, it's not quite as good as the peak of JoJo.
I mean, one of the other problems with Attack on Titan is that for a large part of the series, Eren is completely annoying. And Mikasa has like zero character for the entirety of the series, which I think is sort of what's stopping me from, you know, putting it into that top 10.
Yeah.
It like, even if it was better, I think I'd still look at the whole Mikasa thing and, you know, Eren for a large chunk, and I'd say, I don't know if it's top 10.
No other top 10 show has a flaw like that.
Yeah, that's basically what's stopping me from sort of, you know, putting it above something like Black Lagoon, where every single character there is incredibly compelling, and I want to find out what happens to them.
So, Seda, do you think around the Ghost in the Shell area would be acceptable to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well, let's try to figure out where it goes in that space then.
Yeah, because I would definitely put it above Stardust Crusaders.
Yeah, I think we're all agreed, like somewhere right below Diamond is Unbreakable, but above Stardust Crusaders.
And I even think it's probably below Battle Tendency. What if it went between Ghost in the Shell and Samurai Jack?
That's kind of where I'm thinking.
I mean, that's where I wanted to put it.
I mean, I can't tell which show I like better of those two, as far as like Ghost in the Shell or Attack on Titan. I don't know, but they're kind of very similar to me. So
yeah, no, I think because Ghost in the Shell is finished, it's a little bit more complete, and that sort of edges it out.
Well, here's the thing: I didn't really enjoy the second season of Ghost in the Shell.
Really,
I was actually just about to mention the ending of the Ghost in the Shell second gig is terrible.
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of the opposite of Attack on Titan,
I guess,
where like the beginning of Attack on Titan is not that great, and then it got better, and I felt like the opposite with Ghost.
I don't know how this is going to be the worst argument I've ever made in the podcast.
All right.
All right, I'm ready for this.
The end of Ghost in the Shell, like the last part of it, feels like an anime, and the rest of it doesn't.
No,
I
this
think
is fair.
you're right,
This is
dude.
fair. No, like that's pretty much why Ghost in the Shell is where it is and not in the top 10. I think.
I
You
mean,
know what?
Season 1 ends with, "Oh, we found the Laughing Man, but I guess nothing really happens. Also, would you like to join? You're pretty good."
You know
Yeah.
what? Here's my argument for putting it above Ghost in the Shell,
All right.
and that is that Ghost in the Shell was really great, and then you're right, it kind of dipped at the end. Whereas I want to give props to Attack on Titan for getting better.
Technically, though, Attack on Titan could also suffer that dip.
It could, but it
That's
hasn't.
sort of.
It hasn't though.
We're right at the point where a dip could potentially start, though.
But we're not talking about that.
I feel like since we can't say, well, it hasn't dipped yet, but it also could. So I want to say that what if we put it below Ghost in the Shell and basically like, all right, you have the final season to prove it.
Well, we're ranking the third season up to it. And
Right.
Yeah, I'd rather rank it where it lives now and then drop it later.
We'll re-rank it like at the end of 2020.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that even at the end of the third season, I wouldn't put it above Ghost in the Shell.
You feel like maybe there's enough uncertainty where we are right now that you.
I think
if this was the actual ending, if I was sitting here,
if it ends here,
and it just nailed the ending.
Yeah, if this was the ending, if we've beaten the Titans, we're all free. Here's the ocean, and now we're ending.
I kind of want to judge it on what it is, because we also know that season 4 is not being produced by Studio Wit.
Right.
And so that's going to obviously have an impact on quality in some way.
Right. Like the problem is that we're comparing it to an already completed show.
I'm just thinking I'm treating what we've seen as a complete show. And so as far as I'm concerned, I think it's better to me in the fact that I was more compelled to watch it versus Ghost, where I got less compelled to watch it towards the end. I got bored in second gig. After about halfway through second gig, I was kind of like, ugh.
I mean, they basically have the opposite problem.
Roughly the time of the bad part of Attack on Titan, which is the beginning.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I came back to season 2 of Attack on Titan thinking, oh boy, here we go again. And then it was good. And I was like, what?
I kind of wish we could put it next to it and just say, for right now, they share number 13.
No ties.
Yeah, I mean, no ties. But I'm just saying I kind of wish we could just put it there.
I think we're all on the same page. So let's, as far as this positioning, let's just vote.
Yeah, I say below Ghost in the Shell. I think because it's so close, I'm gonna give the handicap to the show that's already complete and been around for a while.
All right, I'm gonna put it above.
I'm gonna go below, if only because I think Ghost in the Shell has the better characters.
Do I have to choose?
Yes.
Well, you're probably gonna tie. But
yeah, he's gonna go above.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just flip a friggin' coin.
No, that's too. No.
I mean, it's even enough.
All right, fine. Wait, no, this feels totally wrong.
I almost had you.
This is a cop-out. We can't flip a coin.
What do we do?
What do we do?
It's very hard because I would put them about even with each other.
Once again, okay, here's the thing.
We can't do that, though.
Because Attack on Titan isn't complete. It's like, well, like, I feel it's like, okay, if it truly deserves to be above Ghost in the Shell, it'll move up there if the final season's good. Because we're going to get it. Like, and then if it doesn't nail the landing, it's like, told you.
But at the same time, we could put it above and then move it down if it doesn't nail the landing.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'll concede, and we can put it below, and we can have it your way, Greg.
Really? I was about to say put it above.
It's kind of the same. What?
God damn it!
We switched.
I
You
was
guys-
only doing this to break the stalemate.
And then I went, fuck it, we're stalemated.
I think when I think of Ghost in the Shell, I think it's so like Ghost in the Shell. I feel like, especially in the second season, I'm more fond of like the individual episodes. That not like it's not really like a storyline show. I don't really care so much for the second season storyline. More
It's about the
individual
characters.
episodes. And it's more of like a serialized, well, not serialized, but just separate segmented story episodes. Whereas Attack on Titan is more of this constructing, ever building thing.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I think that's maybe. I had like, which one do I prefer? I don't know.
Do you prefer world building mystery, or do you prefer an established world with characters operating in that world?
Well, no. At that point, we're talking about we're sort of talking exclusively about season 2 of Ghost in the Shell. At that
Well, I think the
point.
first season, even those individual episodes in the first season, the standalone episodes, they're also pretty good. I think they're especially good in the second season, in the strong suit of the second season.
Right.
Like, the Laughing Man story is interesting enough. It's definitely the better of the two primary storylines, in my opinion. But they're just so there's like the reasons I like Ghost in the Shell and the reasons I like Attack on Titan are pretty different.
Right. Like, it's hard to compare them, but I do feel like they're about even. Like, the deficiencies in Ghost in the Shell are different than the deficiencies in Attack on Titan, and the deficiencies in Attack on Titan are different than those in Ghost in the Shell.
Okay, B-dubs. I'm going to force you right now to buy one of these two shows. Which one are you putting your money on?
If you had a gun to your head and you had to pick one, like
If I had to spend $50 on either one of these two shows.
Yes. Yeah,
Ghost
you don't
in the
get a
Shell.
choice. Or this is your only choice. You can't cop out.
No, if I was going to spend $50 on a show, it would be Ghost in the Shell.
Okay. Let's just
Because I think, because I think I could turn on a random episode of Ghost in the Shell and say, yes, I got some enjoyment out of this.
I will say Ghost in the Shell, I forgot about those standalone episodes, and that is kind of a plus on that series, I think. That you can like watch one of those standalone stories and it's a really compelling 30 minutes.
Right. Like the thing with the Major went into the guy's cyber brain and it was just a movie theater.
Yeah.
That part where the one guy and his clone fight and they're like, who won? Who is that, the real one? It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Also, I just typed coin flip into Google. It came up tails.
What does that mean?
Which
Tails would be below. Although we didn't actually decide on what a
We
coin
didn't assign anything.
So
B-dubs has reverted back to his original vote. I'm willing to go below.
I am too. They're just so different that I can give Ghost in the Shell the leg up for reasons.
Yeah.
There are reasons I like it more than Attack on Titan. So
I think it's a classic. Attack on Titan is proving itself, but it isn't a classic yet. So
yeah, that's also what I would say.
It's sort of a weird comparison to have to make, and it's weird that we have to make it, but that's sort of why we're here, I guess.
Yep. So congratulations to Attack on Titan, our new number 14.
it keeps climbing up that list.
Yeah. If the last season's good, hey, top 10, baby.
Yeah. I mean, if it's good,
Or
at the very least.
Shell, baby.
Yeah. I mean, if it's good, at the very least, I can see it climbing to like Diamond is Unbreakable tier at the lowest.
So we finally hashed that out. Now we only have, 8 shows to go.
God.
Let's talk about Fire Force. Fire Force, Episode 1, Shinra Kusakabe enlists. Let me say first off that I don't remember a single character name in this show.
Well, I don't either, but it's like a new show.
I can describe a character in terms of main character, girl who's not a priest, girl who is a priest, glasses guy with a gun,
right.
Chief.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I mean,
see, I would have gone main character, girl who is a priest, girl with large breasts, glasses guy, and Chief.
But the point is that like how many this has happened to me like 3 times on Toonami where a new anime comes out and all these Japanese names are like you can't memorize them easily, and then after about 10 episodes it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like this weird thing that I've critiqued MHA for, in that everybody has like 2 names they call everyone. So
I mean, it's weird. Everyone kind of also already calls everyone by a nickname that's not of those 2 official names.
So a little bit of backstory quickly. The show is set on what looks like to be kind of an alternate Earth. It's solar year.
They say solar year.
Yeah, it's a solar year 198. So the alternate history, alternate Earth, something like that.
It's a year 198 since the entire sun exploded and everyone was on fire.
So I don't know how many decades it's been, but people have started spontaneously combusting. But it's not just spontaneous combustion. It's actually they're turning into these monsters called infernals, where their heart is basically turning into fire or something like that. And then also there are these people who are now being born or something called pyromaniac or pyromimetics, who can actually control fire. They have generations, so there's a first generation, second generation. Our protagonist is a third generation, which means not only can he control fire, he can actually produce it, and he has a really cool kind of neat ability where he kind of uses it like through his feet as like jets to move around, which is kind of cool.
I mean, it's awesome.
And so he's a new recruit at this place, and they go around, and it's kind of like Ghostbusters in a way. They're kind of like when one of these infernals attacks. They go in and then they have to basically fight the monster, and then they do it in the sense of like they're rescuing the person's soul who had been consumed by the fire.
So what you're saying is this is Blue Exorcist, but they wear giant fire suits.
Kinda.
Okay, good, because it kind of felt like better Blue Exorcist to me, but not that much, but not significantly better.
Right. See, to me, it felt like worse Chrono Crusade, which is a show that only I've seen.
Yeah, somehow you're like, oh, this is just like Chrono Crusade, that thing everyone's seen. It's like, what the fuck?
That's the only. I am the only one who's seen it. It's not the greatest show in the world, but I do have a soft spot for it. So,
Chrono Crusade. I just looked it up.
It's basically
a nun with a gun.
Yeah, it's a nun with a gun, and she teams up with like an Uber demon, and they go around like kicking Lucifer in the teeth.
All right. Okay. So we've got basically 2 shows about beating the shit out of Satan, and this show is about beating the shit out of spontaneous human combustion,
AKA Satan.
Yeah. So I thought this show looked pretty, and otherwise was in one ear and out the other.
Let's Seda talk about it, because he has very strong opinions.
Seda might be gone somewhere. I think he fell asleep. We started talking about Fire Force, and he fell asleep.
I remember reading his post in the thread, and it was very much like, I hate this show. It's so boring. I hate this show.
Like, I don't really care.
Well, okay, so while we wait for him to come back, I mean, I agree. The animation, I was expecting the animation to be pretty good based on the previews, and it was way better than I expected. I hope the show can keep it up.
Okay, it looks like he's having mic trouble, because he's like,
Okay. It's a looker. It's a really good looking show.
No. Oh, it is probably it is a fantastic looking show.
And somebody was saying that this is X-Bones people.
Yeah.
So, no, this is David Production, but most of the staff on this is X-Shaft.
Or X-Shaft.
Okay.
Because Shaft is, if you didn't know, currently like falling apart.
Yeah, basically a lot of Shaft, the really good Shaft employees left.
Well, this is when I heard this was David Production, I'm like, no. There hasn't been a David Production show that looks this good.
Yeah,
that I've seen. So
I know that Kyoto Animation does a lot of work on this show too.
Oh, well, that's extremely dark.
Can you hear me now?
Well, anyway,
yes, we can.
Yeah, no, like they do.
I don't know
like that's why there was the issue with it when they announced it, and everyone was like, "Ugh."
Yeah. Well, anyway. So,
Anyways,
Theta.
I don't have strong opinions on the show. That's the thing.
I thought you didn't
The first
like it.
show, what I said in the thread was like,
Okay.
the premise doesn't interest me, and I don't care about it.
Right.
That's it,
I
basically.
think it. So the thing is, it's very. I would say the setup is very standard. It's like, here's protagonist. He's misunderstood because of a thing. He has a tragic backstory where his entire family was killed, but they didn't find the body. So,
They're not actually dead.
That might show up later.
It feels like didn't find the body is one time where you can basically spoil stuff because every time it happens, it's like, oh.
They
No, I don't
always
want to. I
show
don't
up.
want to be too much of a Debbie Downer, and maybe over the next couple of episodes there might be a character or two that I'm like, you know what, I find this character amusing enough, or
Right.
maybe, who knows, 30 episodes from now, maybe it'll be like Attack on Titan where it's like, now I'm really invested. But just the introduction to these characters and the introduction to our main premise here, I'm just like, sure, I don't really care, but sure.
I would certainly say that directly comparing it to the manga author's other work, which is Soul Eater,
Yeah.
I would say that in the first episode of that, I was immediately totally into the setting and Maka and Soul.
Yeah.
In this one, I'm like, I know nobody's name.
Right. I feel like it was the first episode of Soul Eater was stronger and a bit more compelling, in part because the setting was so weird compared to this. Like, this is a very sort of, modern setting.
Well, I think maybe one thing that's a little bit different between the two shows is that Maka and Soul, like from what I remember of Soul Eater, now this was like 5 years ago, but like the very first episode of that is basically Maka and Soul. It's just focused on those two.
Yeah.
Fighting some. Is it actually Blair the Cat in that first episode?
Well, it starts out
yeah.
like one guy, and then it's Blair the Cat.
Yeah, that's like, all right, you just need one witch's soul to complete the death site. And
Yeah, but
kill Blair the Cat. Oh, you have to start all over again.
The main thing I'm getting at is that like Maka and Soul have this camaraderie and this sort of pre-built relationship between the two characters that we see. We're here, we're the main character doesn't know any of the other characters, so it's sort of a different setup in terms of like how characters are introduced to us.
He's also the audience surrogate because he doesn't really understand how the fire station works, and so he's learning it with us.
Right.
I mean, I will say that I thought the premise wasn't going to be interesting at all, but I actually found it a little more interesting than I thought I would. It's not great, but it's like more intriguing than I was expecting. I'm like, okay, so there's mystery here.
When you first hear about Fire Force, you just think they're just putting out normal random fires
or something, or just I knew they had supernatural stuff in it. But
I mean, I thought it would be like, oh, it's a series about firemen.
Well, I knew it wasn't that because I'd seen pictures of it and there were like little ghosts and shit, and I was like, okay, there must be something going on here that's supernatural.
Okay.
But and I mean, I also saw a picture of the main protagonist flying using his feet, and I'm like, well, that's not a fireman, but you know what I mean. But like, I think the idea here is that like the world has got a little bit going on, so if they continue to build on that, that'll be interesting. I do agree, though, that the way that they introduced the characters was pretty bland.
It's one thing, they do so everyone looks the same when they're all in their uniform. They all look like the exact same character.
Except the nun.
Except the nun. And also
the main character.
There's some stuff about the third episode that I've heard that I'm not going to talk about, but when you get
in this episode, we like our two female characters sort of introduced them to us through a shower scene. Like,
Oof.
Oh boy!
Well, yeah, I think we're just gonna have to buckle in for a lot of fan service.
If you thought they weren't gonna get, between this and Soma, it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But like the thing I heard about this one character who shows up in episode 3 is like so bad.
That bad?
Extremely. I can tell you about it and after we go off.
No, I think I want to be surprised.
I already heard about the gimmick, and it feels like something you'd find in a anime.
Oh wait, I think I know the thing you're talking about already. It's the thing with
Oops! This just keeps happening to me.
Yeah. It's the thing he got from the guy that writes Fairy Tail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
No.
hopefully that doesn't bring the series down or anything. I guess it's hard to say, but like
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not ready to not like it yet.
All right.
If I can stay ambivalent toward it, at the very least, it's better than Sword Art Online. Sword Art Online.
That's something.
The plot has improved technically.
Yes. But like our standards are very low at this point.
It has a good opening. I like the opening.
Yeah.
You see, I'm gonna have to watch it again because I was half paying attention to it, and it also went in one ear and out the other for me.
Oh,
No,
What did you guys think of the sound design?
Yeah, I was about to say the kid voice.
Yeah.
Everyone was also saying, "Man, this is the worst kid voice I've ever heard," and I literally am sitting here can't remember what it sounded like.
I
It
don't either, but-
was bad.
But I was
think
actually
it was
talking
like a
about.
grown man.
I was actually talking about like the sounds of all the flames and things like
Oh,
that.
okay.
And it's one of those things like it has a very distinct sound, like a lot of
Mhm.
these actions and environments and things. Like I don't know if I consider it good. Like I guess I don't know what a good flame sound is. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some
Sounded
stock.
fine, I thought.
I
mean,
like it was
Yeah.
it was distinctive enough that it brought my attention to it, but I'm actually don't know like is this a good or a bad flame sound?
Different, I guess. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, sound design wise, good, I think. But yeah, one big misstep with having the voice actor try to do this kid voice because it just did not sound like it was like if I tried to do it, I'd be like, it sound terrible. And I'm surprised that they went with that.
Well, they got to push out a same day simuldub. They don't have
Is it literally
Wow.
same day?
it's same
Yeah.
day.
I know they
Wow.
tried that with My Hero Academia, and eventually they're just like,
they do
nope, we can't do it.
They're able to do same day for like a few weeks, and then eventually they're like, okay, we can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
My Hero Academia they were, and then they basically said we're actually going to do a delay because we can. It'll be
Yeah,
better quality.
Right.
It comes in super hot, so boy,
You'd think that fans would really before. I mean, I know people can be real greedy, but like you'd think fans of anime would be like, okay, you can have like a couple extra days.
well, see,
Get it right.
people have already watched the sub, and they've
Yeah. Like they want to be able to watch it, sort of right day and
I
date.
personally have never been the type of person to like have to consume media as soon as it's available. So I don't really that's not really the mindset I think about it anyway. So
I mean, I'm only like that for like a handful of things, but other than that, I'm totally fine waiting for it to air on like Toonami or something. I remember the only same day that was actually good was probably Space Dandy.
well, that was a whole different situation.
Well, yeah, I mean that was it was partially funded here, and
they were probably like, oh right, complete it, and then we'll do the dub, and then yeah,
like they probably got the scripts at the exact same time the Japanese VAs did.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Now, how this show? Sorry,
That's okay.
This is probably might be what you're getting at, anyways. But I think they said this show is going to be 4 cores. Like,
So-
eventually.
yeah, that's the thing that started, and then when I look on Wikipedia, it says it's 24.
So 2.
So it's probably going to be split at some point. It's probably going to end after 24 and then come back later.
Okay.
Oh,
Because like Wikipedia is also it's like listed as 24. And here's the Anime News Network article from July 7th. The official website for the Fire Force anime announced on Friday that the anime will have 24 episodes.
Okay.
So that seems as definitive as you can get.
Now, so sort of like Attack on Titan, we're seeing this show like 3 weeks after its subtitle debut, something like that.
Yeah.
It had that weird delay, so who knows? But okay.
In fact, it's only 2
it's
Yeah.
really 2 now that we've caught up a week. Yeah.
because of that delay. That we're probably not gonna get that one.
No, there's no reason.
I am also interested to see watch the first 2 episodes, then see what episodes 3 and onward look like after this fire. Is it going to be super noticeable? And it's like, wow, I really should wait for the Blu-ray.
All the fire is purple now for some reason.
Yeah, it's weird. Look, there's a burned corpse over there. Don't show it on screen though.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
don't know.
it was okay.
Yeah, it could have been worse. That's I guess.
Yeah.
It could have been Blue Exorcist.
Yeah,
Now, I will say,
Exorcist was
Blue Exorcist was another show I was ambivalent towards, and I like sort of grew on it, like not like dramatically, but you know,
Sort
it's
of
just,
grew on it until the point where it's like, and we read
until like that's true. I like grew on it. It had that sort of slice of life feel enough where it's just like, okay, this is amusing enough, and then it sort of just took a shit. But
It had a couple of characters I liked.
eyebrows.
Yeah, eyebrows. I'm all about those eyebrows. But then, like, also, it also had a weird twist at the end where it just went off the rails SAO style.
Remember how fast some of those last episodes went?
Yeah.
Like how much stuff they were packing into those episodes. I remember there's like this the ultimate villain character. They like introduced him in one episode, and then in the next episode he was like the ultimate bad guy. Like, where did this come from?
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this feels like what you guys were saying about the end of Soul Eater.
yeah. Well,
Mhm.
I guess what I'm trying to say here is my best expectations for this show is that it's Blue Exorcist. Like that's not
Yeah.
high praise. Like
No, that's not good.
if some of the characters
My best
are
expectation,
amusing enough, maybe. But
my
I think
best
there's a
expectation is okay Blue Exorcist.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason. There's probably a really good reason that this show and franchise isn't more popular. You know what I mean? Like the manga's been
Yeah.
out for a while. I don't really hear people talk about it, so I'm assuming it's just okay.
I'm gonna say it's definitely not as good as Soul Eater.
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy to assume.
So yeah, let's talk about Lupin. Lupin the Third, Part 5, Episode 7. His name is Albert. In this episode, we're straight up in Mission Impossible land, where some dude puts on a mask and then just transforms into somebody else completely. Because we start with a dude about to have sex with
Fujiko.
If you're about to have sex with Fujiko Mine, you're about to get robbed.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I'm sorry. No amount of amazing art makeup can make your body look like Fujiko Mine.
And he just like rips off the mask. It was actually me, Lupin, the entire time, and it's like that. Okay.
Where did your hips go? What happens?
Those are impressive implants.
Yeah, I mean, he got a rubber suit and it was very good.
And some very good manscaping.
And like his shoulders became feminine. I mean, like it's just ridiculous.
I mean, it's Lupin, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I only can forgive it because it is a goofy show.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was expecting Fujiko to rob him, but then the mask comes off and it's Lupin, and I'm like, what the?
And there's like 3 different cases this episode where they had like I just wore a mask and now I look exactly like this other character.
It was Lupin.
Like Lupin was running away from somebody.
And then Gaston was actually Albert the whole time.
Well, there's also this other part where like Lupin was running away, and then it's like, nope, that was actually Jigen, and he just pulls off his mask. And it's like, oh yeah, that Jigen looked exactly like Lupin. There. Like really.
Oh yeah, and they play super fast and loose with like sometimes characters can sound exactly like the person they're impersonating, and sometimes they sound like themselves making a gruffy voice. It's like they can't have, because remember in the previous episode when they were like dressed up as like old men, and it's like. I'm Lupin, an old man, and it just sounds like him, right? But then here in this episode, he sounds like Fujiko.
Yeah,
it's like, how does that happen?
This is where Lupin is just a little bit cartoony and just kind of have to accept it. Roll with it.
I mean, it is very like Looney Tunes.
I mean, we had that episode last week that was completely Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
So
I guess
no one forges Picasso's quite like Gaston.
So this is the start of an arc here. Like obviously that we didn't conclude, but I actually didn't realize that when it was first starting that this was like not going to be a self-contained episode.
So ostensibly, this Gaston guy hires Lupin to steal a painting from this collector who's basically known as the Black Hole because he eats paintings and they never come out. And then he steals it, and then it's like, wait a minute, this is just a fucking children's drawing. And I kind of forgot the rest of the episode.
Well, it turns out...
It sort of did a double twist where it was like, we said this was Picasso, but it actually is just something my child drew, and I signed it Picasso. But then it turns out it actually might be Picasso. Like, sort of like a double...
But then it isn't, because he finds the real Picasso painting, and this one's like not right. And then ultimately it turns out it's not about the painting at all. There's a book hidden in it.
Yeah.
Well, basically the Janus list. It's... Hey, we found every dirty secret of the French police. check this out. But you don't want this shit getting out.
Mm-hmm.
So we're introduced to this new, I am assuming the antagonist, his name is Albert. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Albert, I don't think is the French like CIA guy. I think it's. Is it?
Maybe.
I don't know who he is. I can't figure it out. I think he's somebody in like the police force or in the military force or something.
It's the guy in the picture for the show.
Right.
He seems like he's important because he's on the
He's on the poster.
marketing.
Yeah, and he's got like underlings under him, you know.
Okay,
he's
I went to the Wikipedia page, and this is not a spoiler, just description. Okay. He works in the Central Directorate of the Judicial Police in France.
Okay.
Is he Albert, though?
Albert, yes.
Okay, so the glasses guy is Albert.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, he clearly is working like he's not like a criminal. He's like, although he may very well be secretly.
He's working in law enforcement, at least at the surface. That's what he does as a job.
Right.
So,
but he's like menacing, clearly an evil guy. Another character we saw in this episode was who I can only assume is Tampa's French cousin. This guy with like a perfectly square nose.
I don't remember him.
No.
Okay, there was a guy in this episode who for no reason just has a perfectly cubic nose.
Did we mention that the Gaston we talked to was not actually Gaston? That was
Yes.
Right.
Albert wearing a mask.
Yes. It was like that was like the third perfect mask. Couldn't tell.
Like even Lupin was like, yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Lupin didn't even realize.
Of his mask, and it's actually Zenigata.
So who does it first? Is this Mission Impossible or Lupin who is bigger on the mask thing?
Oh, right.
Lupin.
Lupin is totally on that Mission Impossible shit.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure Mission Impossible is on that Lupin shit.
But
I don't know.
This was actually mentioned in the thread by some of you guys, but this episode had some really nice like landscape and
Oh, yeah.
like
gorgeous.
environment shots. Like I don't know if that was just it was sort of reminiscent of that this arc is about, or at least started about paintings, but like some of the shots of like some of the houses, some of the hillsides, even like when they're inside the bar, there's actually like a panning shot of like a lot of the, like just like the wine and beer glasses on the wall, kind of like drying or whatever, and it looked really nice the way it was animated with like the light reflecting off of them.
And it's worth mentioning too, we're back to the modern Lupin animation style.
Yes.
Different from the last episode. So yeah.
But this show has
It's still gorgeous.
The last episode was kind of its own silly thing, but there's been some really nice, like maybe not good animation, but good art. Like, there has been good animation too, but especially art in
It's very stylish.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the term I'd use. I think it's got a lot of style. And it's not the super fluid stuff, although we've had Sakuga in like the previous season, but like this is more about like shot framing and the lighting and, like you said, amazing looking detailed backgrounds. Looks good.
So yeah,
I'm enjoying the show.
this is good Lupin instead of last part, which was all right Lupin.
Also, like the voices for like the minor characters is better this time around.
Oh yeah.
It felt like the last season, like the main cast was fine, but like anyone who wasn't the main cast was like, "What is this voice?"
Every random French person will be that teacher from last Soma. I'm very French.
I am the most French there is.
Anyway, let's talk about Soma. Food Wars, episode 4, Sacred Mother of Kyokusai, not Polar Star. You can't translate this. It's not Polar Star.
So when this show, if you watched it subtitled, was it called Polar Star in the subtitles? Yep. Okay, that's weird. That they just didn't call it that.
So that's dumb. Thanks, Sentai.
I mean, I think there's some cases where it might be better just to keep the Japanese name than translate it, but
Also, why can't you call it the Elite 10 and not Council of 10?
Is that another subtitle to dub change?
Yep, subtitle Elite 10.
Because I heard people kind of complaining about that, but as someone who's not familiar with the subtitle, like when I hear Council of 10, that alone doesn't sound that weird to me, but the fact that they're more widely known as the Elite 10 and that the dub changed it is weird, I guess. So
It's
without
I
that
think
context.
that if there's anything we're learning about this show is that the dub writers and directors are just doing whatever the hell they want.
I'm kind of approaching the show almost like the dub is not great. I don't think it's like absolutely god awful, but it's not great. Not There's a lot of iffiness, especially Arena. That is by far the worst part of it.
I'm sorry, it's
Yeah.
you say Arena.
What's her name?
Arena.
Whatever.
Whatever.
I was thinking like the JoJo character or whatever. But,
Oh, right. Yeah.
I forgot her name. But just I'm kind of approaching this almost like a gag show.
I think it is. I think if you think of it that way, it is much more watchable because it obviously doesn't take itself too seriously at times.
Yeah, so I think that helps me not take the voices that seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to excuse it. It's just kind of like, oh, this show is really super weird and silly and doesn't take itself seriously, so I'm not going to take it seriously.
I mean, we basically got this show's version of its introduction to the Black Bulls, where here's all these characters and they all have a quirk.
Yep.
You know.
In fact, they have a specific type of cooking they do.
Yes.
Where, okay, this one girl does wild game. This one dude smokes stuff. This one girl is brews definitely not alcohol. Seriously.
It's not.
Screen, it's only rice juice.
And also, yeah, it's only juice. And then we've got this one guy for whatever reason wants to walk around with his ass hanging out.
Yep.
How many close-ups of that did we get? Like 4.
One.
That's his gimmick.
Yeah. Oh, and of course, because he's the weird guy who runs around naked, he's one of the Elite 10 and he's super duper strong.
Oh,
So,
of course he is.
he's going to drop that facade and be like, actually, I'm threatening.
Okay.
But yeah,
Whatever.
also continuing this whole Totsuki is ridiculous, ludicrous school where it's like, if you can't cook your way into one of these dorms, you're gonna sleep in a gutter. Fuck you.
So this episode had an old lady teaching, or
Well, she was like the house mother. Or
Yeah.
something.
You
Yeah.
can't sleep in this house if I don't like your food.
and it's just kind of amusing in a way, where like, how are they going to have this character have
Nobody
a
wants to see
foodgasm?
that.
Like, oh, she has memories of when she was younger and way hotter.
I remember. Oh my God.
Like, and her memories go back to her, her first time, and I'm just like,
It's like visiting your grandparents' house and they get a little too raunchy and it's like, ah!
no, this is like visiting your grandparents' house, and then finding the time they were younger and videotape themselves, and then you accidentally put it on.
like, whoops, found the dildos.
Yes.
Like, hey, like where your grandpas are showing you like a family video of some other event. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot I recorded it over with this.
Yes, that is exactly what this is.
Yes, Sonny, at one time I too fucked.
But I didn't need to see it.
Well, so but to be fair, the characters that were introduced, I felt were all fine. There weren't any that made me go, "Oh God!" There wasn't anything like that. They were all just sort of like, "Yeah, okay, they might be fun."
Better
So,
than
is this basically our main cast of characters? It's this group plus Erina?
no.
No. It's not.
Really?
I would actually say that outside of Megami, most of these dudes don't matter.
Oh, okay.
In fact, your main cast is actually basically made up of Soma, Megami, and his rivals.
I just remember like in the opening of the show or the ending of the show, it shows Megami. It shows the girl with the orange hair, the little hair or whatever.
They-
Isn't it
They
Megumi?
Well, we're calling her Megami because that's how they pronounce it.
Yeah, they stupid way they say it.
I don't know. Anyway, they kind of like try a little bit to keep them in the story, but not really because they get easily outclassed by other dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ending is kind of like, oh, look, it's the group that lives in the dorm.
Yeah. I mean, knowing nothing about the show, I sort of just assumed, is this the main cast? Like, are these the characters we're going to get to know?
Including 2 Okuyasus who can cook.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are kind of. Like I'm saying, like there weren't any like bad characters. There's no like gauche here. It's all just sort of like, yeah, they're okay.
So yeah, I forgot how like the early parts of this, like later on they do a lot of build up to the actual dishes. It's like, what am I gonna do here? And
Yeah.
for right now, it's just, hey, I popped something out. Here's how it's good. I took some canned mackerel and made a burger.
I kind of like that.
But yeah, I was like, oh, there's really no like prep time on these, is there?
Yeah.
One quick question before we go on to the next show. The show is called like Shokugeki no Soma.
Shokugeki
Yeah.
Soma.
Shokugeki no Soma. What? So what does that translate to?
Nothing.
Well, because Soma is the name of the character, right?
Right.
Yes.
It must mean something.
Shokugeki is a specific term for the food battles they have.
Yes.
So it's called like Soma's food battles.
I guess.
Soma's battles.
Well, no is of, right? So
Something like that. It's like a
food
connector
battles
word.
So
Yeah.
okay, literally Soma of the Shokugeki. Shokugeki does not. They're not. I don't think they're giving Shokugeki a literal translation here.
Because it's got like a
Okay.
weird Japanese only word or something.
Yeah. So it's like
So
it's like Soma of the Food Wars.
Soma of the food battle.
hence
Yeah.
hence the English title Food Wars. So
I picked up a book at the library yesterday, and right next to my pickup was a reserved copy of the manga, Shokugeki.
Really?
Yep.
It's surprising what you find in the library. I wouldn't
No,
think
I
you'd
just
see
look up
that.
stuff.
I mean, but like manga is just, I know that's like common now, but it's just like, it surprises me.
Does it have an ISBN? It's probably there somewhere in someone's collection.
Yep.
Someone donated it. Anyway, Black Clover. Black Clover episode 80. Special Little Brother versus Failed Big Brother.
is that actually what it's called?
Yep,
Oh
that's
God,
what
are
it's
you
called.
serious?
So I think Black Clover is definitely in the all-star of just terrible episode titles.
They're giving up.
Just like,
Yeah.
what do we even call this?
They can't even be bothered anymore.
In this episode, what's his fucking face? I literally forgot. I know his
Who?
little brother's name, but I don't know Space Portal guy's name.
Finral?
No.
It's Longrist versus
Isn't it Finral?
Finral. Yes,
Why do I know that?
it's the big showdown because Longrist is a piece of human trash, and so are the parents.
I think B-Dubs actually mentioned this in the thread, how it might have been you. Like, it feels like this show is trying to do One Piece style, like, tragic backstories. But
Yes,
it's
yes.
totally failing. It's just like
Oh, yeah,
every
no.
backstory is just really stereotypical, like some, like in this case, just brother who is absolutely a dick.
There's
Yeah.
One Piece backstories. Everything was fine, and all these people loved each other. Then
Right.
Dick came in and ruined it all. Black Clover backstories are these people are human trash, and everything was always bad.
Well, like,
Right.
we have this
no,
backstory
it-
where basically Finral's brother is just a jerk for really no reason at all. Like, what? Because he can do, like, attack magic? Is that it? Like, he's...
No, Finral's magic is way worse.
Yeah,
The,
but
the problem with this show is that it just
Also, they don't have the same mother.
yeah. I mean, the issue is that the only reason people are bad in this world is because they're royal.
right.
That's
But we
it.
also-
That's it. It's like that's all you have to do. You just have to be a royal person, and then you're just an asshole.
But I'm also thinking, like, the other recent backstories we've gotten. Like, we gotten one for what's her name, Soul, and it's just like this really kind of.
Instead of Yami just running through on a walk, now Charlotte runs through on a
But it was
walk.
just kind of like this tropey sexist stuff. Like, oh, you're
Yeah.
a girl, so we have to protect you, and obviously that doesn't happen. And just the way that it was handled is like seemed really shallow. And I guess the anime expanded on it, so it's not necessarily the writer's fault, but just like it was just like this really shallow thing. And then like the one before that was just what's his name, Zill or Dill, was just kind of like, I'm an artist and no one understands me, and it's just all bad.
Right.
It's all bad.
Yeah.
And then Alfred came up.
I will say the final scene in this episode was pretty good, though.
Yeah.
It was pretty
Charmy
good.
being like, check out my sheep. I'm gonna fuck you up with the sheep.
I mean, it's kind of
actually not a child now. Everyone
yes. When she gets serious, she like ages like 4 years in an instant.
Well, like he pulls a full biscuit.
But yeah, but like it is a testament to this show that like as bad as this show is, it was kind of nice to see all these characters like defend him, and be like, hey, you went too far. And it's just like, yeah, that's cool,
It was also that like brief bit of animation there was like the best the show has looked in like 7 episodes here.
Yeah. It did look good.
A lot of these like tournament episodes, the animation has gone back to just looking like shit all the time. Just like really bad. Like you sort of get used to it, but it just looks so bad.
Yeah. And I think the reason I liked this moment is because it's one of the rare times where I can get behind the characters and their motivation. It's like, yeah, obviously, defend your friend from this asshole. It's a smart thing to do. I don't want you to just stand by this wayside and just do what all stupid tropey anime does, where they just like watch and be like, oh, it shouldn't happen. Like they stepped in, and I'm like, that's cool. So I'm going to give it props for that.
Right. Okay.
But yeah. Guess who's going to be the final boss of this arc? Because he beat his brother, which means Asta has to punch him in the face with a sword.
Oh, of course.
Boruto, episode 41, Strength and Unity. Except not really, because they kind of ran off from Konohamaru, but okay.
They work together.
In this episode, Konohamaru could have soloed everyone. I guess there were only 2 dudes.
Yeah.
It felt like a very watered down version of the Land of Waves arc. Like,
right.
Very watered down.
In 5 minutes. Yeah, Konohamaru is like, oh, Konohamaru might be in trouble. Oh no, he just shot out a Rasengan and destroyed a mountain, and this dude just shot himself. So goodbye.
Right. It's sort of this weird thing where it feels like he intentionally nerfed himself just to give them something to do. Because I feel like he could have solved this entire arc in like 3 seconds.
Like I almost expect after that for the kids to go back to the village, and then Konohamaru stays behind and everyone gets up and he's like, all right, guys, thanks for that great performance. It's like, take a bow, random criminal ninjas, take a bow, village people.
You all deserve it.
Now I sort of expect, so we have our new Team 7 here, and I sort of expect that they're not going to work together well starting out, and we expect to see them build like a camaraderie as we go along here.
Right.
It still felt just like really, I don't know what's the word here. I just used the word shallow talking about Black Clover. Yeah, just like how they were specifically denoting like, I'm actually not good at this, but you're good at this, and I'm good at this, and we can work together. And it's just kind of like beating you in the head, like teamwork.
We get it.
Yeah.
I guess I totally agree with that, and at the same time, I did enjoy seeing them kick ass.
I will say that, like, just on average, the animation here is probably better than on average, at least Naruto.
Come on, dude.
Absolutely, it is consistently better. Yeah.
Well, when I think about the Land of Waves arc, there are moments there in early Naruto where I think the animation is pretty good.
Yeah.
But
I was thinking Shippuden. Sorry.
Yeah, but the fact that it felt kind of did. I also felt kind of like sapped away any potential interest there might have been in terms of like character dynamics here. So
well, I think they're just going to go back to their bickering anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I mean they always do.
Until I almost feel like it's going to take a long time for them to get over this because they're not. It's like not really based on a show, so they don't know when they're actually going to like change the dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, they can do it whenever they want, though.
Although I guess they're going to have the movie arc soon, so
yeah. I think deals with a different thing, though.
How many of us, have any of us seen the movie?
No,
I actually haven't.
None of us know what that actually is. I know they retell it in the anime. I just don't know exactly.
That's why I didn't watch it.
Naruto on the moon.
No, that was the other one.
Naruto in space.
Yeah, no, the last was when Naruto goes to the moon to save Hinata, who was kidnapped by moon aliens with Byakugans.
They're ninja though. They're moon ninja, right?
Moon ninja aliens that have the Byakugan.
Boruto, now the moon people are invading Earth.
No, hang on. No, it was the one guy, and he stole everyone else's Byakugan to make a giant one.
As someone who hasn't seen the end of Naruto, this is still a little bit like, this is where it goes really.
Yeah, me too. I'm kind of like, what?
No.
Also, I just
like
love the idea that in this world, ninjas are such a big thing that they're even on the moon. I just love.
No,
that.
like
First
I'm
ninja
gonna
on the moon.
I'm gonna be like completely honest. I really like that movie. like the plot is sort of nonsensical when I say it out loud like that, but seeing it in action, you're kind of like after seeing what
Is it a good
happened.
movie or is it a guilty pleasure?
No, I would say it's a good movie.
Wow.
You're probably looking like, oh, this is a Naruto thing that's fun and exciting.
Yeah, it's like it's not bad at all. Like after you've seen where Naruto ends, this is kind of like lowbrow in comparison. So you're just kind of like, oh, well, this is kind of cool. It builds on what was there. It's smaller stakes almost. And, it's, even though it has that crazy plot, it is still a very sort of personal movie almost. So it's like, I like it. I don't know. I wish that was the ending arc instead of what we got in Naruto Shippuden.
So you literally wanted the ending of Naruto to be Naruto goes to the moon.
Well, anyway,
It would have been better than what we got.
Anyways, in Boruto, it seems like we're just at this point, like these sort of mini arcs where we have our first arcs as Team 7. And maybe the first arc I felt like just kind of there wasn't a whole lot there.
I mean, it was just Land of Waves recast.
So are we just going to go into, you've been a team for 2 days, time for the tuning exams?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I have no idea where this series goes from here, but I know obviously one of the biggest criticisms of Naruto that we've talked about is that we say that there should have been more before the tuning exams.
Right.
More, maybe these sorts of arcs, just these sorts of mini. I hope they're.
I think the other thing too, and I think the other thing too is that hopefully Boruto does this. It has a little bit. Is like give some of the other teams the spotlight.
So far,
Right.
what was Shikadai's team like stuck doing? Like shopping.
Yes.
Good. That's a good mission for ninjas. That's why we went to school.
Yeah.
Shop.
They went to school for this.
Grex?
Yeah, I got nothing else to say about Boruto.
I mean, it kind of existed. What do you want?
You know what didn't exist? Naruto. So let's talk about Gundam.
We're just going to completely skip over it.
It's literally a recap.
We've done that last week and the week before. So
Unless it like went back to new content in this episode.
It did. No, it was flashback.
No,
stuff.
it was a flashback.
Good. I was worried for a second.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin, Episode 4. Goodbye, Artesia. In this episode, Sayla's life sucks.
It does.
Her mom dies. Her cat dies. Her pony sucks. Her brother's like, I'm off to go laugh at people and wear sunglasses. See you later. This is the time you need me around the most, but fuck this.
I'm out, son.
Also, yes, when Char Aznable rode up on a horse looking exactly like what's his face, I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here?
I kind of knew this was going to happen a little bit, but I didn't think it would happen, like, be over so quickly. I thought this was going to be something where, like, these two become friends, and then at some point...
they were never friends.
Yeah, exactly. But let me, like, I thought they were going to be friends, go to the academy, and then then the real Char would die tragically, and the other one would take his name. But no, our main guy, straight up
hero, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, not really a hero, is he? He pretty much set it up, and I mean, maybe I'm not sure if it was deliberate that the guy was going to die, but like the real Char died. And this guy just took his place.
Well, yeah, so from what it seemed like when they were in the airport, Real Char didn't suspect anything, but Casval, being like super anime perception, was like, I noticed these people looking at me weird, and they're probably going to try to kill me. So
Yes.
how am I going to get out of this? I'm literally going to use this guy I sort of know, and
Yeah,
he's going
you're
to
right.
die for me.
It's the best.
Yeah, like I was saying, I'm not sure if he was certain that the real Char was going to die, but he certainly was going to use him as a way of getting out of this situation.
Hmm.
And yeah,
I think he totally knew that the real Char was going to get blown up.
Well, maybe not blown up, but captured or whatever. He may have not known exactly, but yeah, he just took advantage of him.
Yeah.
Completely.
yeah, and also you said a moment ago that they weren't friends, but they were kind of friends.
Yeah, they were.
I mean, yeah.
It's sort of like I guess we don't know how long they were on this.
How long they were in Texas?
Yeah,
They were in Space Texas.
I love the fact
But
that
it was
Gundam
actually
has
more like
Space
It was
Texas.
actually more like Space Wyoming than Space Texas.
Yeah, but it was called
Same
Texas.
shit.
Sandy Cheeks welcomes you to Space Texas. Don't talk shit about Texas, or you're gonna blow up in a nuclear explosion.
It's the best.
So yeah, I mean, like our character who has now taken the identity of Char is a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's not good.
And basically, the death of his mother seems to be the one thing that sort of catalyzed him to be like, I have to do something. And it's obviously not a maybe a great way of going about it, but that's kind of what made him decide I need to basically leave. I can't just stay here.
He's basically like, I'm gonna get inside the zombies and fuck them up.
Yes.
Yep.
And meanwhile, Sayla is just like, I don't understand, and everything sucks now.
Sayla curled up in a closet, crying.
Yes.
Everyone she knows and loves is dead.
Yeah, she deserved better.
I mean, maybe.
Also, I appreciate that Char got to kick someone out of saloon doors.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
when he's just sort of pissed off. And
do you know why saloon doors go both ways? Because they're made for people to be kicked out of.
Yeah.
That is the best.
How old is he supposed to be at this point? Like
14,
like 15. He's not even like an old teen.
He's old
like
enough to
15
kick a guy out of a saloon door.
It's Space Noid rules. I'm sure there's like
he's totally overpowered.
Society's different.
Oh, man.
fucking new types.
Yeah, fucking new types.
Basically.
All right.
Seriously, the giant colony has Texas written on the side.
Space Texas.
I love it.
And
what is with Gundam and these stupid named space stations?
Dort.
Like Dort.
Dort. And Space Texas.
And stupid places like Texas. Hey everyone, what am I? Stupid? No, I'm Texas.
Anyways, this show is still pretty interesting. It's compelling.
It is definitely compelling. Way more compelling than the first one. The other Unicorn where I was bored to tears. This is like, whoa.
Welcome to Unicorn. So
I mean, this is just funny.
Like in Mobile Suit Gundam, we've had a bunch of people get shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like we drove a giant proto gun over some cars.
Yeah.
Char sword fought a dude in a suit of armor who was there, and we don't even know why that dude in the armor was there.
What does it matter?
Because it was him and a bunch of dudes with guns, and it's like, what?
It was awesome. That's why.
Then everyone died in this episode and also blew up.
Also, one thing I really like and I appreciate, and I can't tell if this was something that was like part of his character before or they added it for this origin story, but I love the idea that his iconic sunglasses have a purpose.
It's like, oh shit, my eyes aren't the right color.
Right.
Ooh.
So he wears the sunglasses to hide his eye colors. I think that's so cool.
That's pretty awesome.
This dude, people around him almost talking about him like Dio, where it's like, dude, like I look at him and I almost piss my pants.
It's the
Adults
best.
say that about him.
Yeah. I mean, can you blame him?
No.
He's kind of a psychopath in a way.
He will send you to die and not even blink an eye. So let's talk about MHA. My Hero Academia, episode 60. A talk about your quirk. Deku, it's time to have the talk.
Not that talk.
When a man and a woman love...
Not that talk, I said.
So yeah, in this episode, Bakugo has finally figured it out.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like they hid it from him very well.
No.
It took him long enough, considering Deku came straight out and told him.
Well, I mean, even if Deku didn't like slip up, still the fact that he just sort of came out of nowhere, like at, I guess what would be considered a late age in that universe for a quirk up here, that alone is suspicious.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
From what we know.
Also, they did just meet a supervillain who could say, "Hey, I can take and give powers."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bakugo just looks like Equation Lady meme. Hey, wait a minute.
You see, you always call her Equation Lady. You know that's an actress, right?
I don't know her
I
name.
don't know what her name is.
She was in Pretty Woman. What's her name?
I've never seen that movie.
No, it's not. What's her name?
Oh, it's not her. Oh, who is she? I know she's a famous actress.
No, she's not that famous.
What? Yes, she is.
I'm gonna look this up now.
What's her name?
I'm terrible with names, but I'm telling you, she's the actress in
Okay,
Pretty Woman.
okay. Here we go. No, it is not the.
It's a Brazilian actress, Renata Sora.
Yeah, it's a Brazilian soap opera.
You have a
Famous
different
Brazilian
image then.
actress.
There's a GIF out there of Julia Roberts where she's like looking at the camera and she does like a hoo kind of face. Is that you're not talking about that GIF?
No.
Panel one where the lady looks increasingly consternated as equations are on the screen.
Yeah, like she looks confused, and then the other equations start showing up, and she's like, "What?" And I will note that the third panel was literally the last month I had to take a math class on that exact equation. So like that face was just me for a month. Actually, the last two.
How does this episode end anyway? I don't really remember.
They're gonna talk. Or
just
like.
Bakugo was like, we're gonna solve this the only way I know how. We're gonna fight.
Yeah, Deku. Yeah.
The thing I sort of wonder, and maybe this is just a character thing where I just don't understand his mindset. There's just like, what if Deku just said, "Yeah, my power is borrowed. So what?"
Well, he did tell him that.
Yeah. But just like, what does this mean? Like,
the fight isn't about that. The fight's about the fact that Deku, because Bakugo says this, is like Deku sucks. He's not good with quirks. He never had a quirk, and now he's only had one for like a month, and somehow he's beating Bakugo. And Bakugo is pissed off that he is being beaten by Deku.
I would say it's about something else.
It's about the fact that like Bakugo is like All Might's second biggest fan, and now he's got to retire because of Deku.
Well, that's also gonna come up later.
No, I mean he practically came right out and said it.
Did he?
Yeah.
I feel like the big breakdown moment is later.
No, I mean it is, but he practically came right out and said it already. Like his whole thing was that, none of he acknowledged you and not me, and now he can't, and now, look what happened to him, and, But then again, imagine if Bakugo had that quirk.
That's not Deku's fault.
No, it's not, but,
I think in my mind, Bakugo is being extremely irrational, and it's hard for me to understand exactly like why this pisses him off. It's just like, okay, I just sort of have to accept that.
I don't know anything what you're talking about, B-Dubs, but the way I read it is as like it's a status quo. This is par for the course for Bakugo. He just doesn't like to be beat by Deku, and Deku is excelling where Bakugo is failing, and
Bakugo's not failing.
He failed the test. He didn't get
the license. He was a dickweed, though. He knew.
But my point remains.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
he's not. Deku is surpassing him, and Deku was a quirkless kid, and so that's what's pissing him off. I think is that he just doesn't. He can't. He's like he has to prove himself. I guess he can't. In Bakugo's world, he has to be superior, like Vegeta.
He's basically a worse Vegeta.
Kinda.
I mean, have you seen Dragon Ball Z Kai? Dragon Ball Z Abridged Kai episode 6?
No.
They do a joke where like Goku has a dream sequence, and in that he's Deku and Vegeta is Bakugo, and then Vegeta's like yelling, "I am!" And at the end of it, Goku's just like, "You're such a complex character."
Wait, Dragon Ball Z Abridged episode 6? I thought there were only 3.
Whatever. I didn't know they're still doing them.
Episode 3.
Okay.
Anyway,
in any case, Bakugo is just really upset, and this is how he takes it out. He's kind of being a dummy, but I think that's the point.
Meanwhile, Bakugo failed the exam, so did Todoroki and Windude, because, wow, dude, what the fuck? Also,
I like that the guy, though, he's not an asshole about it, though. He, apologizes and does the stupidest bowing ever.
I still hate you.
And they can still pass. They just have to take a summer course.
Yeah.
Basically because we really need all you guys.
You're the cast.
Oh, like shit, dude. And also the weird flesh girl was Toga the entire time.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So that wasn't that girl's real quirk. That was her. This is Toga's quirk of imitating a person.
Yep.
Right.
Does that mean Catsuit Girl is being captured and held somewhere then?
We'll see.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
really? Yeah,
obviously,
I mean, she's not around.
Toga had to take her blood, and she's not around.
So also she mentions too, as she's leaving, that she's gotten Deku's blood.
Yeah.
Right. Which is not ideal.
More on that later in the future, maybe. I don't know.
Well, in the very least, it means that she could become him or turn into look like him.
I'm just saying that still hasn't been resolved even now.
Like in the manga.
Yeah.
Maybe a spoiler, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I don't feel like this hasn't happened is a spoiler.
I actually kind of like stories that might leave lingering storylines for later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
me too.
Rather than everything being problem resolved immediately. So
right. I feel like that is more interesting.
She has Deku's blood, and who knows what she plans on doing with it. So we know that she can now transform.
Well, she probably plans on transforming into Deku for what purpose?
But again, it's not like she doesn't get the quirk. She just looks like them, right? Or do we know?
She just looks like she looks like them. She doesn't get their quirk.
Okay.
But
well, anyway, she looks like she can look like Deku, which means she could probably do sabotage, like she did in this episode where she was hiding in plain sight.
She could walk into the middle of the classroom, yell, "I'm the traitor!" and run out.
I forgot there was a traitor.
Yeah, they kind of dropped that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Another thing that has not been resolved.
Yeah.
Soon.
How many more episodes do we have in this season? Like
3. It only has 3 episodes left.
Oh my gosh.
MHA is gone for a bit.
Well, I mean, the next season is already getting ready to come out in Japan, so...
Right, yeah, it's in October, so maybe they will just rerun it for a bit, and then check this out, it's season 4!
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I expect.
So we got My Hero Academia pretty late, like the dub.
Yeah.
I wonder for season 4, will it be kind of like Fire Force, where we get it just a few weeks after, or Funimation want to put it on their site first because maybe it's a big moneymaker for them to have people sign up for Funimation. I don't know. So,
yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be on pretty soon. I think it's going to be the 3.
If I had to guess, I'd assume that Toonami would get it pretty soon after it airs this time.
I think it's a safe bet. So that's probably why.
We're probably getting in the next 6 months.
So, yeah. It starts in October. They could replace Lupin in November, and
Possibly.
Animation would probably be like, yeah, that's enough of a time for people to have actually watched it on our site. And
Yeah,
not
I think that would work.
But in terms of this season, I assume we're going to have like an episode and a half of this Bakugo Deku fight, and then some
But
sort of
Resolution.
resolution, like next step finale.
also, if they really wanted to go crazy, I don't know when the exact date it's going to premiere and like when the dub's going to be ready, but like Dragon Ball Super ends on October 5th. If you wanted to go straight into MHA Season 4, that's extremely new.
Okay, without spoiling anything, season 4, I'm assuming, is a step up from this season, right?
It's not. You mean the manga content?
Yeah. Next
little
arc
bit.
better than this one.
I will
Yeah,
say that the anime has the potential to greatly improve on the manga arc. And I hope because just in terms of like comprehensibility of the fights and showing some things that didn't get shown.
I will say that I'm current on MHA, and this was probably the absolute worst arc in the series so far.
This previous
But do
one,
you like the next one?
I don't remember it.
it's
That's a good side.
I mean, it's kind of like that for a lot of MHA arcs because they either stretch on a bit, long for me, or there's like maybe one thing that actually happens you need to know about, and that's it.
Okay. Well, I hope it's good because you're right. I think the chances are good that we're going to get it. And I thought that this arc was kind of weak. It wasn't bad, but just kind of lackluster.
Yeah, like the license exam is something I forgot happened completely.
Right.
It's like, oh, that's right, this.
Like, I remember the broad strokes of what the next arc does, and like Rex is right, it could probably be cool if adapted properly. Oh, hang on.
But yeah, it's also like maybe I will come into it from the anime being like, wait, I actually kind of do like this.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things that when I think about it, the arc, I mean,
when I think about it in like in a broad recap sense, I really love the character, like the major side character that's there.
Yeah, I mean, sort of thinking about it broadly, it's that, like, if I were to tell you the plot summary, you'd be like, yeah, okay, that sounds cool. So I think that an adaptation has the potential to take what was kind of a middling arc and turn it into something really awesome. Because it does have a couple of moments in there that do sort of stick out to me as being like, holy crap, yeah, hell yeah.
Some good Sakuga and actually making a fight happen on screen would go a long way.
And fix the pacing up a bit, like just quicken it up slightly, I think. But yeah, I mean, this could actually be really good.
I also really like the second arc that's likely to be a part of season 4.
Which one was that? Was that the
Gentle.
thing with that was the thing with the gloves, right?
What?
Don't say too much.
School festival.
Yes, that one. That one I liked, but I felt like it was 2 chapters too long. Like,
really?
Just yeah, like it was like 2 or 3 chapters too much. Like if they had shortened it up slightly, it would have been perfect.
Why? That's weird.
I remember reading through it and going, there's a lot of like sort of like all at once, and it's just kind of like there's a lot of sort of the same thing happening chapter after chapter, and I'm just like, you could probably cut like half of some of these chapters and it'll still work.
Cut all the side characters anyway, so.
Well, no, I mean, not like don't cut the side characters, but there were specific sections where I thought you could cut 2 of these 3 out and it would still work just as fine.
It's weird, B-Dubs. I never heard you never talk about any other show like this where it's like, well, you could cut a chapter here and a chapter there.
Like, MHA is one of those things that I like a lot, but I feel very strongly that can overstay its welcome a bit. It's kind of like when we talk about Naruto and we say, oh, it would be cool if there was another arc or two between the Land of Waves and the Chunin exam, right?
Right.
And
Well, that would be the opposite.
yeah, but then it's sort of like MHA is the series that does that, but then it stays one arc too long, or like it stays there a little too long. Like,
not to talk too much about future stuff that I don't know about
right.
yet. Like season 3, the first half of it, like with All for One.
Oh, I love that shit.
Like that felt like a really crucially storyline important thing that.
Oh no, that was fantastic.
That we all experienced. And then I guess it sort of makes sense from there for the second half of the season to be something not so high stakes.
All right, we need to press focus. Let's go do some school stuff.
Yeah, it's just, but it does kind of
the MHA anime thing of the first part of the season is the super dramatic, super shonen part, and then the second part is we're doing some school.
Well, like I think they just pulled back on it too much is all.
But this license that they get is also just kind of weird. It's like, you're not a pro hero. This just means that you can use your powers in emergencies. It's just like, oh, right. Okay. Sure.
Right.
Instead of just standing there waiting to die.
Yeah, like
okay.
That's still a little bit hard for me to reconcile. Like if they were in an emergency and they use their power for like great effect to save someone, to save themselves, or whatever, and like, are they actually going to be like locked in jail? Like, you don't have a license? How dare you?
That happened in the Stain thing. They were like, we should throw your asses in jail, but you helped catch the guy.
We talked about this.
They sought out this dude to punch him around.
Right. Well, I mean, one guy did. The other went to save them.
They went vigilante.
Well, I sort of understand.
Okay.
That you need to have some sort of limitations on a society with a bunch of powers, but it just seems a little bit weird. It's like you cannot use your powers even in emergencies unless you have.
No, and I think
it does feel a little rigid.
I think you're wrong about that. We had this conversation, and I think that we came to the conclusion that it is in a life or death situation you're allowed to use your quirks. It's not against the law.
But
it's just that you can't like just use your quirks willy-nilly all the time. You have to
be licensed specifically for like emergencies, like a sort of like a half step to pro.
Yeah, it's like a learner's permit. It's like you're allowed to drive, but you got to be accompanied by somebody, right? Isn't that what it is? Basically, it's like you can use your powers to do hero work, but you can't do it alone. You can't just be a hero.
It's the learner's permit.
Yeah, it's a learner's permit.
Yeah.
Except it's only applicable when like an actual earthquake just happened.
Right. Okay.
Because that makes sense. Because in this society, heroes go out to find things to be heroing, and these kids aren't allowed to do that. But if they're in a situation and a hero is needed and they're there, then that's different. That's okay for them to do it then. Well, but even then, I think they have to kind of like be under supervision or something.
I mean, this kind of goes back to the conversation we had after the Stain arc, and I'm kind of like, they probably should be allowed to use their powers in emergencies anyway. Like if somebody's life is at risk.
I think that's the Japanese culture thing where it's like, don't get involved.
This is I think this is a larger discussion about
it's going to make things worse. Good.
How would you try to keep a world where everyone has powers in check?
Yeah.
It's like literally, okay, everyone on Earth woke up and their hands are guns now.
Right.
Close enough.
Well, I mean, how's that different than life in America already?
It's not, but anyway.
Well, except that they figured their shit out.
Yeah.
I guess my larger point is that this license that they're getting is kind of it doesn't feel like it's that super important, but I guess it is. But
right. I mean, yeah.
I'm not that invested in Midoriya getting his license to use it.
Yeah. Well, like the arc itself doesn't feel all that worth the amount of time we spent on it.
Especially with like the amount of straight up filler.
I mean, not even just like the filler, sort of like you look at what resulted from the arc, and it's kind of like, yeah, we got some stuff, but did we really need to spend, what, 6 episodes on it?
I mean, I think the thing is, it's hard to. This chapter wasn't written by Horikoshi in the thoughts that this will be part 2 of a season. He's just
Well,
doing chapters or story
well,
arcs, and this just happened to be the second half of a season, so it's kind of lackluster. Like, at least they're adapting it. You know what I mean? Like I think they're adapting it because they want to be faithful.
Yeah.
yeah, no, I know, but this sort of goes back to what I was saying. It's kind of like the results of this arc feel like they weren't worth what we went through to get to them, you know?
I guess, yeah. I guess maybe he didn't have a great. Maybe if your opinion of this arc is that it's not written as well as other arcs, hey, you know
Yeah.
what? People sometimes they just can't come up with great shit all the time, and this
No,
is just
I know.
lesser one, you know.
And
Yeah.
I mean, also just sometimes I think you just do need to have some just some time to
A
fill
downtime arc, yeah.
between major plot points.
Mhm.
Like
No, of course.
he didn't write. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He didn't
Yeah.
write this to be like he probably knew that this wasn't going to be like some high point in his story. It's just like
Right.
I mean,
I
you
need
can
some
even look at.
pass between the last big event and the next big event.
Right.
And also, for all we know, he was thinking, you know what, this will be a good opportunity to introduce a bunch of really cool new characters, and they were kind of like, yeah, they weren't really all that great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of these people come back.
I mean, it's not like I'm complaining that nothing happened in the arc, because stuff obviously very much did happen. It's more just like the length of time feels a little out of whack compared to, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it was. I would say it's not one of the strong arcs of the series, but
Yeah.
it was okay, and
It exists.
it existed, and we're not done yet. We still have 3 more
Mhm.
episodes or whatever. So, or is
So,
it? Yeah.
It's 3 more.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be
Time
about
for bed.
tonight's episode of the podcast. Thank you, B-Dubs.
Okay.
Thank you, C. Kohler.
No problem.
Thank you, Seda.
Yep.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you guys next week for the premiere of Gen Lock.
If we can figure out how to record the podcast.
If we know how to do this.
I forgot that was next week.
Yep. 11, our Dragon Ball Super lead out, Gen Lock.
Yeah.
Not My Hero Academia, Gen Lock.
Because we didn't even talk about how like My Hero Academia season 4, like the fact that My Hero Academia is at 3:30 is like.
So
Didn't even move it back. They just left it there.
Yeah.
Clearly, so does scheduling come in and say, why would you get season 4?
Yeah.
I think they still would. But
It's like,
you
if
know,
we get season 4, like, are they going to air it at 3:30?
No, there's no
I
way.
hope not.
Well, I mean, maybe.
Just being closer to the dub, to the release would make it higher, I think.
Yeah.
I don't
I
think. I think you're
think-
trying to apply logic where it doesn't exist.
Exactly. We
That's
have
fair.
no idea how they plan this sometimes. So
I think that they're just. I said it before. I think bean counters are looking at numbers and not feelings, and are just like
numbers according to lines. Go with
yeah,
it.
exactly. And they're not like lots of people really are big fans of this show. They're not like that. They're like, no, numbers say X goes to X.
trust my analytics.
Right.
So yeah. Good night, everyone.